Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines on who bought the dip, and it looks like El Salvador bought the dip. So we will definitely be diving into that article here in a second. I've also got a few other headlines that I want to take a look at. So once we dive through the rest of this morning's data, we will take a look at those as well. Let me hop over to that stock heat map. Oh, on the wrong screen share. Let me get that pulled up. I was messing with my mic this morning. I did pick a new one up. Can't really hear. All right, let me get that switch back over to my other one. There we go. Sorry about that. I will have to get that all fixed. I just installed it yesterday. I don't have any booster programs on it just yet. So I will mess with that after the show and try to get that all fixed. I will go back and use my old mic for now. I know it works fine. I was just hoping to kind of improve some of that audio. Let's get that bumped down just a little bit. Kyle Field says, "Whoa, stop yelling, man." Yeah, that this mic has a boost on it. So I was trying to get rid of having to use the headset in the mornings. I just need it for that morning music on the intro, and then it kind of gets a little bit annoying when I have to wear it the whole stream. So we'll try to get that all fixed for y'all tomorrow, and hopefully not have to wear a headset all the time. So let's dive into this stock heat map. We are seeing some continued sell-off in the pre-market. So we do have Apple, which was sitting up at 2.1 from its close yesterday, and the pre-market sitting down at 2.54. We've got Nvidia sitting up 1.71, and the pre-market is seeing a little bit of buying pressure though, up 0.22. We've got Berkshire Hathaway up 0.62% from yesterday, and the pre-market sitting quite neutral, 0.0 on the board. We've got Amazon sitting up a 1.95 from its close yesterday, and the pre-market seeing some sell-off, down 1.44. We've got Eli Lilly sitting up a 1.93 from its close, and the pre-market sitting up a 1.68. We do have ExxonMobil sitting up at 2.68, and the pre-market seeing some light sell-off, down 0.08. We do have Tesla sitting up 2.22 from its close yesterday, and the pre-market sitting down 1.07 right now. We've got P&G down 3.37, and in the pre-market seeing some light sell-off, down 0.02. We do have Microsoft sitting up a 0.35 from its close, and the pre-market down 0.42% right now. We've got Google, which was sitting up from its close yesterday, up at 2.5%, and the pre-market getting hit kind of hard right now. They did have some less than pleasant earnings, and they are sitting down 6.79. This is on top of a the potential of a lawsuit from China. They are being investigated for a lot of their practices. So we've got Meta sitting up 0.96 and in the pre-market sitting down 0.4. I do see the chat moving this morning. Thank y'all for helping me with that mic situation. I see Jesse Gulak in here, Kyle Fields, Donato Cabrera. We've got Jay Violet. Good morning to you. I see Alexander G in the chat. Good morning to you, Mod Queen. We've got Duality Crypto saying good morning. Paul Caruso with the morning, brother. Good morning to you. I see, where is it? We've got Robert Mulligan in the chat saying good morning with the pink hand. We've got All Set in the chat as well. And K Diggity, good morning to you all. Let's hop over to that crypto side of the heat map. Oh, what is going on there? I don't know why it's only on one. Whoa, I don't know what is going on there. Let me pull up the crypto bubbles instead. That'll work a little bit better. I don't know what's going on with my stock heat map there. Pull up the crypto bubbles and we'll just go off of that one. We do have things sitting up on the hourly, but let's get down to the daily. We've got Bitcoin sitting down 8% on the daily. We've got Ethereum up a 0.8 on the daily. We do have XRP sitting down a 2.2. We've got Solana sitting down a 1.4. We've got BNB sitting down a 1.9. We've got Dogecoin sitting down at 0.9. We've got Cardano heading in the green, just like Ethereum, up a 2.2. We've got Tron Coin sitting up 1.8. We've got Chainlink down 2.2. I was taking a look at that chart this morning, and it looks like it might have found support at a level I was hoping it would hold. We do have Avalanche up 2.5. Sweet is up 4.8. And we've got Stellar Lumens down 0.8. And H-bar is sitting down 0.1. Kind of wraps out that top 15 for crypto. Let's hop over to our economic calendar for today. We do have some data coming out here shortly at 8:30. That will be the balance of trade for the US and the balance of trade for Canada. That will be something we will need to keep our eyes on, especially as there is the potential for some tariffs to be on Canada here in 30 days. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that trading view. There we go. We also have a little bit later in the day ISM Services PMI. That will be the big market mover for that 10 o'clock Eastern time. We do also have the Global Services PMI final as well. That will be coming out at 9:45 a.m. Both of those will kind of be the big data for the morning. We do have crude oil information coming out at 10:30, and a little bit later in the day we'll be seeing some balances of trade from Australia, and from Japan we will be having the Bank of Japan Tamura speech. So that will be a big one to kind of see what their thoughts are on their rate hiking cycle, especially as they've been seeing some strength in their dollar against the United States. It kind of looks like we might see the potential for a carry trade at their next decision. As I talked about before their previous decision, I wanted to see their yen be a little bit stronger against the dollar, and that's kind of where things are heading for that currency pair. We'll kind of have to take a look at that chart a little bit later. We do have Bitcoin sitting right below a key level that I was hoping we would hold and continue on some bullishness. Oh, let me actually hop over to those fear and greeds. We do have the stock market sitting at 39 and fear. For crypto, we are sitting at 54 and neutral. Down 18 points after some slight slip in from that $100,000 range. You have most of the liquidity to the top side sitting at that 100,000. We do have a light hot spot sitting right below us at 96,500. Let's zoom that on out to the weekly, kind of see where things are sitting there. Most of that is on the top side as well. You do have that 103,000, which is going to be that light hot spot that we could go up and grab first. And that big hot spot is going to be back up at those highs of $107,000. We do have that 2 week looking quite the same as that 1 week, so not a whole lot of liquidity to grab below us, and most of that is definitely sitting back up at those highs, 106,300 and 107,200. Let's get over to that Bitcoin chart. Almost that whole mic thing threw me off this morning. I was hoping to bring a little bit better quality, and kind of threw me off that it wasn't working quite as well as I was hoping here. We do have that Bitcoin chart sitting at right below those key levels that I was talking about wanting to see hold. You do have the 4 hour looking quite nice for a continued push to the upside though. MACD getting some curvature back to the top side as you've got your prime oscillator just flipping to the green and getting that curvature back to the upside. Money flow is just starting to come in as some buying pressure as well here on this 4 hour, and that volume just switched from light green to light red here. So if we can continue to see some money flow coming on in there, we can get that switch back from light red to light green and continue this push to the upside. You definitely have a range right above us at that 102,700 to about 103,000, which is right where some of that top side liquidity was sitting to, where we might start seeing some resistance if we do see that money flow start coming in like we did yesterday and got that push back up on Bitcoin. We will kind of have to see how that shorter term liquidity is coming on in. We do have that 1 hour liquidity, which is starting to be some heavier buying pressure as we are seeing that prime oscillator start to come back up with some heavy green. We are getting to a point where we could kind of start seeing some topping signals start flash though. We are breaking that middle line here, but it looks like with how low a bunch of the topping signals were before, that we're going to really need to turn some of these key areas into some support first and get some cooling off on some of the oscillators before we really try to blast up a whole lot higher and reclaim some of this liquidity back at 106,000 for that big top side. You do have a little bit of liquidity that was residing just below us at that 96, right at the lows, so where we have those equal candle bodies. So if we do get a rejection off of this and going back down and grabbing that liquidity, cooling off those oscillators and really pushing back up to that top side liquidity would be a nice move for those market makers to hit for the morning. We do have that 15-minute looking like it's a bit toppy here. You do have your liquidity, which is got that push to the green, but is starting to roll over here. You have your volume also faltering and being from that heavy green to that light green, and is starting to get that little tinge of red. You have the MACD with plenty more room to run here on the 15-minute, but that's where I'd start seeing that 99, 300 and that 236 being that first little resistance range. We have made some very equal lows here and pushing on up off of that, and we would really need to claim this as some strong support before we want to continue that upside move, especially with how toppy things are looking on that prime oscillator, and start seeing some reversal signals might flash here soon. Could definitely see that be a little bit of resistance. Go grab that liquidity that was sitting to the bottom side of us at that $96,000 range. Really cool off those oscillators before we make that continued push back up to 102,700, right where all that liquidity is sitting. I do see the chat moving. I see Peggy Williams in here saying good morning to all. I see K Diggity all set saying good morning to everyone in the chats. I see Alexandra G doing her thing, saying good morning to everyone. Robert Mulligan, and thank you. Waiting for the sun to come up, but enjoying the green bubbles instead. I'm waiting for the sun to come up here as well, and I got a potential trade I was looking at. Maybe hitting on the TradFi side of the market, especially since we saw some heavy sell off. We will kind of have to see how some of this data comes out at 10 o'clock to see if I actually enter that trade or not. We've got Consolid CMG in here. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's hop over to those news articles that I was taking a look at. We've got El Salvador buying the dip from yesterday. El Salvador has expanded its Bitcoin reserves by purchasing an additional 11 Bitcoin on February 4th. The move is part of President Nayib Bukele's ongoing strategy to accumulate the cryptocurrency, particularly during market downtrends. According to Nayib Bukele portfolio tracker, the latest acquisition brings El Salvador's total holdings to 6,067.18 Bitcoin, valued at approximately 613.7 million. The country's initially implemented strategy on purchasing 1 Bitcoin per day, but has recently accelerated its accumulation pace. Its National Bitcoin Office revealed on February 4th post on X that in the past week alone, it had added over 20 Bitcoin to its reserves. President Bukele made it clear that El Salvador's goal is to continue acquiring more Bitcoin. He previously teased about getting the chance to buy Bitcoin at a discount after the U.S. government announced a $6.7 billion sale, an event typically associated with price volatility. This is something I will have been and will continue to keep my eye on, because this is the first country to really have that Bitcoin reserve, and they have done quite well. They have boosted their country up, got increased ratings on a global scale, and it's been all through Bitcoin. Bitcoin has offered them a lot of freedom here. We did have a little article from touching on Arc Block's investigation on Bitcoin's price movement this cycle, and they were talking about how Bitcoin volatility has hit a record low, and stablecoin transactions have topped Visa, which is kind of the start of what we want to see. Stablecoins are now doing more transactions than Visa, and Visa does quite a lot of transactions, but on the negative side of Visa, it takes 3 days for their transactions to settle, where crypto does that at the time of the transaction going through. So, positive news for crypto. 2024 was a watershed year for the digital assets, with Bitcoin's annual volatility reaching a record low and stablecoin transaction values exceeding Visa and MasterCard. These are among the major takeaways from ARK Invest's Big Ideas for 2025 report, released on February 4th. According to the report, Bitcoin's annualized one-year volatility fell below 50% in 2024. By comparison, Bitcoin's volatility was closer to 80% in 2022 and well above 100% in 2018. A large part of Bitcoin's success in 2024 was owed to the most successful ETF launch in history, ARK said, referring to the 11 spot exchange traded funds that were approved in the U.S. in January. By the end of the year, the U.S. Bitcoin spot ETFs had accumulated more than 100 billion in net assets. At the same time, Bitcoin's inflation rate fell to 0.9% after the quadrennial halving in April, marking the first time in history that Bitcoin's issuance rate was below gold's long-term supply growth. In addition to Bitcoin, stablecoins cemented themselves as a dominant blockchain to use in 2024, with annualized transaction values reaching 15.6 trillion, which is roughly 119% and 200% of Visas and Mastercards respectively. The number of transactions hit 110 million monthly, roughly 0.4% and 0.72% of those processed by Visa and MasterCard, the report said. However, the stablecoin's value per transaction is much higher than that for Visa and MasterCard. On the regulatory front, stablecoins are a top priority for pro-crypto Republicans in Congress. Before the November presidential election, Senator Bill Hagerty introduced the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act of 2024, which builds off a previous proposal by former House member Patrick McHenry. Earlier in the year, Democrat Senator Kristen Gilbert and Republican counterpart Cynthia Lummis introduced a bipartisan bill to establish a regulatory framework for stablecoins. And this is a big part of what we want to see in crypto, especially when you're going to cash out. You want clarity on these stable coins, and you might start seeing the potential that a stable coin could be backed by the FDIC in some of these accounts. I know that was a big part of why a lot of people decided they were going to use Coinbase. They were like, oh, FDIC insured. Well, it's FDIC insured on your dollars and not your stable coins. But if you get regulatory clarity on hey, this asset is basically the dollar and can be used as the dollar and is regularly used as the dollar, as we start seeing more and more boosting of transactions in comparison to Visa, who is the global market use of transactions every single day. They're starting to handle more dollars than Visa is, but they're not doing more transactions just yet. But if you can see this as money, you can start seeing it backed by the FDIC, and you might have a little more safety in your accounts if anything happens. We've got Stu Lovell in the chat. Good morning to you. I see French Toaster in here and the Dusty Hunt as well. Good morning to you all. Had a great Billy Goat Tail space last night. Oh, I missed out on that. I'm always in bed when Billy Goat Tail starts out, so we'll see if someone can drop that link in the chat for everyone if they didn't get a chance to check that one out. I see Randy a bite in here as well. Good morning to you all. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's hop over to that last news article I was taking a look at, because it has to do with that Google being down almost 7% in the pre-market right now. They're getting hit quite hard, and there's multiple reasons for it. Not only did their fourth quarter revenue miss and their shares profit decline, but they're also being investigated by China. So they're getting hit all around here, and they're down almost 7% in the pre-market because of it. Alphabet's fourth quarter revenue trailed Wall Street's estimates, while the Google parent company's earnings came in stronger than expected. Revenue advanced 12% to $96.47 billion, but misses the consensus on FactSet of $96.69 billion. Per share earnings rose to $2.15 for December quarter from 1.64 a year earlier, compared with Wall Street's 207 view. Class A and Class C shares of Alphabet were down more than 6.5 each in after hours trades. Google services revenues increased to 84.9 billion from 76.3 billion, driven in a jump in advertising to 72.46 billion from 65.52 billion. Search and YouTube ads sales climbed year over year, while those for Google's network slipped. And this is the biggest part of why they've been getting some sell-off. So revenue and Google Cloud segment rose to 11.96 billion from 9.19 billion. Our artificial intelligence powered by Google Cloud portfolio is seeing strong customer demand, Alphabet chief executive Sundar Pichai said in a statement to their cloud, and YouTube excited 2024 at an annual revenue state of 110 billion. Alphabet is targeting about 75 billion in capital expenditures this year. This is where a lot more of their money has been coming in through those modes that are actually being investigated by China. So some of that cloud storage and their worries that it's not actually private is being investigated by China, and that's a very, very small part of their revenue stream. Also, their practices of advertising are being investigated by China as well. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that Google stock. It might slip just a little bit further with these investigations that are going on. You have the S&P 500 that I was taking a look at yesterday. I wanted to see it get back above this golden pocket and continue this pushback to the upside, to our CME gap that we had been watching to get closed. We do have a CME gap that is sitting right below us, which is looking like it might get left open for now, and we might have to wait on some bad data that pushes the market down as a whole to kind of come down and close this. I did say that if we weren't able to get back above this golden pocket and turn it into some support, that it would kind of be a hard fall to the downside here. We are sitting right below the midline of our CME of this prior CME gap, and we've completely closed the CME gap that we made before when we got that whole dip to the downside and this push back up. So we're sitting with just a one CME gap to the bottom side of us and plenty of room to run to the top side. This 1 hourly MACD just hit that cross of our indicator line and is pushing back to the top side. Money flow is looking massively strong here as our prime oscillator just got that flip to the green. Our true 7 is starting to cross to the top side of things, and you've got very solid volume here. You do have that daily looking like it is at that decision point here. You are approaching that indicator line on our MACD and waiting to kind of see if we can have that continued money flow coming on in, and if we get that bounce very solid here, could see that push back up to our platinum pocket at 6,087 and try to hit that tops back to the top side of that CME gap at 6,100. Definitely a little bit of a local resistance area which we might see getting hit, and kind of a pushback down to the platinum pocket there. You have the prime oscillator seeing some light curvature, so if we can get that money flow looking solid on our daily as well, get that bleed over from the 1 hour into these higher term time frames, that S&P looks nice for a continued push back up to the platinum pocket. I have been taking a look at gold quite a lot here. This is that daily chart, and as you can kind of see, we've been blasting through all of my Fibonacci extensions. We do have a 2,902, which would be that next little target on this Fibonacci extension that I have drawn out. Let's zoom this on in to our hourly chart and see where we're sitting. You are looking a bit toppy here on our hourly. Your MACD is getting that curvature back to the indicator line as we are seeing a volume start picking up. We've got a divergence stacking up that could definitely push us back down to the top side of our Fibonacci extension, about that 2,853 mark, where we try to confirm some support and get some pushes back to the top side. If we do see some continued money flow coming on in and buying things up with market uncertainty, then you could just completely ignore a bunch of these topping signals and really have those come to call back up here at that 2,900 range. Could see a brief blast above it before we really pull back down, kind of like we got back here. This golden pocket right here was on my old Fibonacci extension. It got blasted through and really pulled back down quite nicely here. Might have to draw out a new Fibonacci extension. Let's go from the lows back here and get that up to the highs here and go to the lows that we made from over here, and we looks like we're above that range as well. So gold on a tight move. We have been continuing to go to the upside on these precious metals. I did drop a gold list in the Discord for those WAP upperclassmen. If you like gold and you think it's going to do well with some of this market uncertainty, I dropped a whole list of stocks that are heavily tied to gold's price action and have been getting that continued move to the upside just like gold has. Have been watching silver. I said I wanted to see that strong bounce off of our support line, and that's exactly what we got here. We are sitting above the 236, and we've got plenty of room to run on some of the higher term time frames, just like gold does. We did get that nice cross of our indicator line on the MACD here. We are seeing a little bit of some curvature here on our prime oscillator. We did get a first reversal signal flashing back here before we got that drop down, and we started to see a bit of a reversal signal once we approached some of these key levels here, but it is kind of negated quite a bit once we got that strong bounce off of that 236 there and really push back to the top side. You do have money flow starting to pick back up here on the daily. Your MACD has some nice distance from the indicator line, so we could really see a little more pushing back up to this $33.33 here before we start seeing some strong resistance coming into play, and that daily chart really getting that second reversal signal flashing, and maybe see some hidden divergences start stacking up here. We will have to see what this data brings our way for the morning. That 15-minute looking like it is cooling off quite a bit, and as money flow is holding steady here, so definitely got some slight more room. We could run up to that $33.33 before we see some strong resistance on that hourly and that higher term time frame come to call. I don't know if anyone has any alt requests they'd like me to take a look at, but I've definitely got some time to do that. Got about 15 minutes after I hop into the Dixie and the JPY pair, because I was taking a look at that and it is looking a little bit ugly. We do have let's get that over to our Forex. We've got the Dixie trying to hold a strong area of support here as we have been getting some sell off. We had that $107 and $107.53 that I've been wanting to see hold. We did get a brief wick below it, but I've wanted to see this kind of hold as we try to reclaim this platinum pocket over and over. You have the daily looking like we might come to break this line, and that next area I would look below that would be about that 106.72 here on the Dixie. We'll kind of have to see how things continue to play out as these tariffs are on hold and this China-US trade war really kicks off. You do have a nice strong area right below that at about 105.65 where we could try to hold for some support. If we're unable to do that, it is going to be a hard fall back down to this golden pocket and 103.95. I see Jesse Gulak saying, gonna save the money a couple months to buy the yearly subscription. We've got Jay Violet saying bedtime soon. It's 8:33 p.m. If it was 8:33 p.m. here, I'd already been in bed for probably like 45 minutes. I go to bed at like old man times, and I'm in bed at like 7:30, 7:45. Really just depends on what I got going on. If I gotta do a little show prep before for the morning. We've got Sink and Toaster with the rocket ships. Good morning to you. We got VW John in the chat saying buenos dias muchachos and muchachas. We got a few women in the chat as well. Good morning to you. Thank you for dropping that Billy Goat Tails link in the chat for me, Alexander G. We got the Dusty Hunt saying French Hill will discuss crypto on CNBC this morning. We will definitely have to I will definitely be tuning into that one. Might have to dual screen Alex O Crypto and CNBC. Not that I'm the biggest fan of their show, but sometimes they have some interesting information there. Is it French Hill Crypto CNBC now? Oh, I guess I'll have to watch it later then, because I'm in the middle of my show. So let's take a look at that US dollar JPY pair, because we are seeing the US dollar losing some strength against the Japanese yen here, especially after they hiked rates and we held our rates steady. This is something I said that would potentially be happening here. And if we zoom this on out to a higher term time frame, let's go to that weekly view. So you can kind of see back where we saw the Japanese carry trade unwind from before was back here in between these two candles here. So this is the August candle, last week of August, and this is the first week of September. The Japanese carry trade happened right around this point here, and this is kind of the direction that we're heading all over again. This weekly chart is looking very, very weak here for the US dollar against the JPY. You do have continued sell-off as your volume is kind of holding steady here. So if your volume is holding steady and your sell-off is increasing, this means that a lot of people are kind of swapping over, seeing the yen being a lot stronger than the dollar for the short time on this pair. You do have that MACD, which is looking like it's going to cross that indicator line to the bottom side quite strongly. You have a key area down here at 148.16, which is that 382 on a Fibonacci retracement, which would be that first area I would look to try to see us hold. We did blast quite nicely through that 50% and blasted down to it on the bottom side as well, and really looked to hold that 382 as some support. So that's that first area I'm looking at for the macro if we really continue this downtrend and confirm it on a higher term time frame. You do have that daily, which had just crossed our zero line here. Let me undo that and get off my drawing tool. Yep, you do have that daily MACD, which just crossed our zero line, and our indicator line just crossed that zero line as well, and we're looking to create some more space here. You do see heavy selling volume here on this pair, as we are staying to the bottom side on our RSI. You completely ignored a reversal signal back when we tried to reclaim this platinum pocket here before we really got that hard push to the downside. The US dollar JPY pair is looking extremely ugly, and it looks like carry trade part 2 might come to call on their next Japanese rate decision, especially if they're going to hike again, which is why that speech from the Bank of Japan a little bit later today is going to be so important. That breakdown of the US dollar to the JPY could cause some money flow to come out of these US markets and really come to call in Japan. They are looking quite nice. That Nikkei got a nice boost to the upside this week. So a lot of strength in that Japanese market in this current time frame. I see Jesse Gulek. Did everyone smash the like? No, please be kind and smash the like button. I appreciate you, Jesse. I've got Wick 589. I'd be brewing for the bottom after 5 cups of coffee. I did something different this morning. I had 0 cups of coffee. My girl got this mushroom blend substitute for coffee, and I tried that out this morning, and it's quite delicious actually. It was a caramel macchiato one, and I feel not like energized the way that coffee does, but I feel kind of focused, and it's kind of nice. I don't have the overly caffeinated coffee sweats that sometimes happen as I'm trying to get that same kind of wake up feeling. The Dusty Hut says nothing important yet about crypto on CNBC. Does CNBC ever really have anything important on it though? So I will kind of have to tune in after the show and see if they did say anything important. We got doing well. Thank you, Wick. Getting ready to drive to work. I hope you have a great day. Much love. Wick 589. Ah, yes, with the chaga and the lion's mane. Yeah, I can't remember what the brand name is, but it's got lion's mane and chaga. It's got a lot of antioxidants in it. My girl wanted to kind of get a more healthier start to the mornings, and it seems to play out quite nicely. I feel a little bit better than I did when I was chugging a bunch of coffee. Username says coffee or nothing. If I can find a nice alternative to coffee, I will definitely take it. Paul Caruso says mushrooms. Hopefully you're not tripping. It's not that kind. It's not those kinds of mushrooms, Paul Caruso. Those days are long behind me. I don't do that no more. Got Jake Fahan. XRPL went down for a couple hours yesterday. They were implementing the new ISO 2022 system, replacing Swift. So big news out of XRP. I will have to take a look and see if I find any articles about that one. I'll take a look at this XRP chart. And I did want to take a look at Link. It looked like it might have found some strong support. 1 cup of coffee black is good, says username. I will. I might have some coffee later. We'll see how well this mushroom coffee plays out for the whole day. So I definitely do drink a lot of black coffee, so it's kind of nice to cut down on that intake here. We do have that 4-hour XRP chart looking like we are seeing some strong bottoming here. We've got the potential to kind of come back down on those shorter term time frames and really confirm this 236 as some strong support. That's going to be $2.46 before we really try to do some battle with that $2.60 that I've been having my eye on. prime oscillator just switched to the green. We do have volume looking a little bit red here on the 4-hour. You do have that 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here, as you do have a reversal signal has flashed. Your true 7 is heading back down to the bottom side, and your volume is kind of slowing up. This 236 at about $2.46 would be a strong area to see a bouncing from as we cool off on some of these oscillators here. You do have the potential to kind of drop a little bit below that, and that's going to be $2 and about 42 cents, where we see some very, very equal candle bodies from back here, and we got a nice little bounce off of to the top side when we drop below that 236. So seeing a little bit of a wicking action below that 236 at about $2.43 before we get that pushback to the upside. Got Robert. There's a plethora of mushroom stuff out there. I'd start with the US source. Otherwise, you get heavy metal coffee and not the musical kind. Whew. Yeah, there's thousands and thousands of mushrooms out there, and we only know a small little part of what they can do. And it's definitely a nice alternative to that coffee intake that I have in the morning, because my coffee intake was completely unhealthy. I'm talking about, like, we'd smash the 10 pot, the 10 cup pot, and then just keep going. So caffeine, nicotine, and gasoline makes the world go round. I could definitely agree on that one. That caffeine and that nicotine are a crucial part of my morning. Vacuum packed in the bags in the freezer. Oh no. All right, let's take a look at that link chart. I was taking a look at it this morning. We got a nice bounce off of this area that I wanted to see hold, which is where we got a bounce off of before. That's at $19.42, which it looks like we might revisit here briefly. You do have that being a strong area of support. We've gotten a bounce off of it, If we can kind of create a higher low here, make a little bounce at $19.72, it would kind of show that the trend is not very sideways, and it is more in an upwards direction here. You do have very strong resistance up at this at $20.26, where we might start seeing a little bit of faltering if we do get this bounce off of that $19.42. Let's zoom this on out to a 4-hour, because that morning says we might come back and touch that $19.42 here. You have plenty of room to run to the upside, kind of looking a lot like the rest of the market here. We do have us moving a bit sideways on our oscillators. Your MACD looking like we might get a little bit of a curvature back down to our indicator line before we really get that push back to the top side. K Diggity says, I guess I'm going to need a QP of mushrooms for research purposes. Jesus. I do know there's this one called Mud that's really good. So maybe check that one out. That's what my buddy uses. And he says it's got lots of caffeine in there too. So not only do you get the caffeine, but you also get some of those antioxidants from mushrooms, which are healthy. Lion's Mane really has some nice focus on it. It's got alpha GPC in it, which used to be a supplement that I would take for the mornings, which is known to improve focus. So you do have another area above us at $21.92, where if we can get back above, get that bounce off of that $19.42 and really come in with some volume here, you could see us push back up to, you do have that $20.61, which you might see a bit of faltering at, especially since that is the 50% line on our fib retracement here before you really get that pushback to the upside. This is kind of a fair value gap on the way down and the way up here, and we've retested the bottom side of that fair value gap. Got plenty of room to kind of push to the upside if we can see some money flow coming in with some strong moves, really buying us back up at that $19.42 range. Will depend a lot on this morning data and kind of have to watch how Bitcoin chart goes. Hashtag stimulate chat. Good yeah, coffee chat. Coffee chat, coffee chat. If you need some coffee, we also have a link in the description, if I'm not mistaken. It's aviation coffee. That's not a coffee problem. That's a BC problem, says username. Yeah, well, once I get started on the caffeine, I just keep going. So it definitely is a BC problem, but I just need a lot of that. It kind of helps cut out some of that ADHD that I have. It helps me keep focused, and then once I get started, I just drink caffeine all day long. So don't mind me just pouring my coffee over here, says username. You and your coffee. All right. I don't know if anyone has a brief alt request that they'd like me to take a look at, but I have time for just one alt request. I didn't see anyone asking for anything in the chat. I see y'all having a lot of fun in there instead. Let's see. Yeah. Scrolling back, and not seeing any alt requests. So, first one to make an alt request gets their alt looked at. If not, we will just take a look at something random here. So, any alt request I can take a look at. We got ribs. DGB doesn't get enough attention. I'm not taking a look at that username. Stop it. I can't even find it on TradingView. I've looked before. It's one of those extra degen plays that you do. DGB, is this on the crypto side of things? Let's see. Crypto, DGB. I'm gonna take a look at it on the Binance chart here. I have not I don't think I've ever looked at DGB before. Let's zoom this on out to a daily. This is a naked chart here, so we'll kind of have to see where we're sitting. We're sitting below some lows from last time, but it looks like it's made some nice moves here recently. We do have a brief push up. Let's get this current range Fibonacci retracement. We've got that nice push up to the highs there. Looks like we're trying to hold the platinum pocket, which would be quite bullish. You do have a bit of a higher high to a lower high here. So if we can get that bounce off of the platinum pocket, which is looking like it is a strong area from these highs back here before we really bottomed out, if we hold that as some support here, get that push back up. Volume is looking a little bit iffy here on the daily. Would need to hold steady. It is getting a slight rollover here, but you are getting some bottoming signals here on your prime oscillator. MACD looking like it's getting a bit of curvature. If you can hold sideways movement here, really hold steady, you could get that nice curvature back up to the top side on our daily chart and get that push back up here. You have a massive old fair value gap, which might come to call if you get that push back to the top side. Let's get that drawn out here. Running basically from your golden pocket to your 382, that's a whole fair value gap, which makes your 50% fib line here the middle line of that this fair value gap. It is closed, so let's get that black background there so we do know it's closed. You do have plenty of room to kind of bounce around here if you can get back to that golden pocket. Daily looking like you might need to see another brief reversal signal start flashing as your volume is starting to pick back up here. And we did get that volume pickup, which is right from back here, where we did see a reversal signal flash for a move back to the bottom side, with that volume coming on in and a money flow kind of sitting at that same little point as we are right here. Kind of very equal here. Let's get that drawing tool back out. You can kind of see this is looking a lot like this right here, except we are at the bottom side of a daily prime oscillator. You've also got your money flow looking a lot similar to this right here. So if we can maintain this platinum pocket on some shorter term time frames, it would look quite nice for a push to the upside. Let's take a look at that 1 hour, see where we're sitting here, and it looks like we're trying to hold that platinum pocket quite nicely. You do have your MACD. Oh, let me undo that, undo the brush, go back to that. You do have your MACD, which is looking to hit that curvature back to the top side. You've got very sideways movements here as your money flow is starting to pick back up and your volume is faltering just a little bit. So if we can maintain this platinum pocket, cool these oscillators off just a little bit here on the MACD, get that curvature back to the top side, could really hit that boost back up. Try to reclaim some of these lows here. 00962 would be that first little area. I could potentially see some faltering. We were unable to really get that push back up there. That next little area is going to be kind of where we make that brief little push back up to, and we're unable to reclaim. That's going to be that 01029, and that's going to be that next little area. I could potentially see some faltering, and we do get that pushback to the upside with some strong volume. You do have that volume which is starting to pick up, that money flow which is starting to pick up as some strong buying pressure here on the hourly 15-minute, getting that curvature back to the downside. Getting that money flow though coming back in. It did see a brief flip to the green and is looking to be light red here as we are trying to confirm this platinum pocket here as some strong support. So few areas to the upside where we could really hit some bounces. It looks like this is all some higher lows here, and we are bouncing up against a flat top here at 00922. So we get above that with some strong money flow, could really see that boost back to the upside. It is 7 o'clock now, so thank you to everyone that tuned on in today. It's going to be a good day. We've got some heavy data that will be coming out right when Piper is live, and that's that morning market report at 9:30 Eastern time. We got Trade Academy at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Trade Intuition does an amazing job. If you need help with TA, sometimes even I learned something completely brand new. Like I learned something about harmonics yesterday that I didn't know before. We got a crypto nightcap at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and the markets after dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Thank you to everyone that showed up. Make sure to trade safe. We might see a little bit of some volatility this morning, depending on how that data is. I will see y'all over in the Alex O Crypto chat here in just a minute. Make sure to wake up, because